Oh my gosh, you guys. We're on our way to our next adventure, but there is Six Flags. Oh my goodness. Many memories of that location right there. Going to concerts, riding the roller coasters. I'm going to do that another time. We are on to somewhere else today. Well, hello there, and welcome to another beautiful day for an adventure. We are at Meramec Caverns here in Stanton, Missouri, about 40 minutes outside of where we just were in our last adventure, around Manchester, Ballroom, that area. And so, this is also the home of Jessie James Hideout. They give tours. This is going to be fun. Welcome to another edition of Tommy Travels. It's Tommy Travels. Come on with me, you guys. Let's go see what there is to see. And here's the James gang greeting us in to Meramec Caverns. Right there. And these are the caves that we're going to be touring here today. Hello fellas. Welcome to Tommy Travels. And if you come to Meramec Caverns, there's more to do than just cave tours. You can also do camping, which we saw as we came in, canoe floats, wax museum. That's a Jessie James wax museum. Restaurant, gift shop, zip line, motel, and then here's the zip line. It's called the Caveman Zip Line. You can go 50 miles per hour with 3 bridges, 4 zip lines, and 8 towers. Oh my gosh, that right there, that's not for me. I don't think I'll be doing that. And here is the entrance to Meramec Caverns. It is expansive. We are going to tour this spot. It's going to be sweet. And look at that little, that's where supposedly Jessie James had a hideout. Our tour guide's name today is Faith, and she's about to tell us a little bit about this room with the disco ball in it.
So this first room that we have entered is called the Grand Ballroom. It is called the Grand Ballroom because around the 1800s we did used to host balls in here. There would be a 50 by 50 wooden platform where people would dance the night away, have lots of fun. We also used to hold banquets in here, weddings, muscle building competitions, cat shows, high school prom, all that good stuff. And this disco ball above my head right here. Now, all of this rock right here above us and around us, that is called dolomite. It is 10 times denser than the concrete we are standing on right now, so no water can get through it. That being said, we will not see any formations in the front parts of the caverns, but later on back we'll reach some limestone pockets. We'll see some really cool stuff down there. You guys want to follow me into the caverns? If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I will do my best to answer. If you have any comments or concerns, let me know. Feel free to take pictures and videos. The Gunpowder Room. It is also known as the factory room. If you don't believe me, there's a sign right over here saying that it is. The reason we call it this Gunpowder Room or the factory room is because during the Civil War, Union soldiers had occupied these parts of the cavern. They were mining saltpeter off the sides of the walls to use for gunpowder. Saltpeter is a fancier term for crystallized bat guano, or for the younger ones, bat poop. Pretty gross, but pretty efficient at the time. When Confederate soldiers found out that Union forces had been occupying their territory, they did not like this, so they contacted a guerrilla warfare group called the Quantrell Irregulars. They did come in here and do what they were hired to do. They took care of the problem. Another reason we mention the Quantrell Irregulars is because we believe that Jessie and Frank James were a part of this group at the time. They were about 14 to 16 years old, and that is how we believe they got first knowledge of these caverns. This device here is called a Foucault free-swinging pendulum. This specific one was built in the 1950s by a group of high school students. At the time it was constructed, it was 1 out of 16 known known to exist, the only one built underground, and the only one that did not work. First things first, if you guys want to look up towards the ceiling for me. This hitch, keeping this entire thing up off the ground, was originally made of cast iron. Due to the high natural humidity of these caverns, that did rust, and all of this came crashing down with it. Since then, we have put it back up for entertainment purposes. The reason I say entertainment and not scientific is because due to the length of this wire right here, that ball must be 1,000 pounds in order to work properly. This is not 1,000 pounds, or I'm stronger than I look. It's about 98 pounds. It is called the division room. It is called the division room for an obvious reason. It does divide it to the lower parts of the cavern down here and the upper parts up here. Both we will be exploring today. Now a little bit of information before we go down there. In 1933, when Lester Dill had first acquired these caverns, this is where the tour would have ended, as both of these entrances are naturally blocked off at the time. You would pay a nickel at the ticket booth, come back here, learn a bit of information, and then walk right back. Later on in 1936, Lester Dill had noticed a crack up in this wall. Would be the upper right-hand corner of this archway right here. He yelled into that crack, got an echo back, so they figured there must be more stuff back there to profit from, so he did what any reasonable person would do. He took a couple sticks of dynamite, chucked them back there, ran for dear life, blew up that entire hole in the wall. Now it would be 35 cents a pop for the upper hand tours. Down here are the lower parts. The ceiling up here came to the top of the handrails, and beneath that was a stagnant pool of water. Until 1941, Missouri suffered the worst drought in the history of our state, and that water did recede. A couple of tour guides noticed this. There was some air wafting through there when there should have not have been. They contacted Lester Dill. He came down here, checked it out, looked around, found two tour guides skinnier than himself, and shoved them down there. After a while, they came out and he asked them what they saw. They said that there was much more caverns to be explored down there, along with 26 rusted artifacts believed to be left behind by Jessie and Frank James. So, believe it or not, we have walked all the way to Hollywood.
Oh,
this
cool.
part is called Hollywood because they have been here on a couple different occasions. Like in 1972, the last part of the Tom Sawyer movie was filmed right over here.
Oh, cool.
This may look familiar to some people. If it does not, the way that this story goes is that Tom and Becky, these two boys, were being chased by the bad guy. His name was Joe. Joe had chased Tom Sawyer all the way up this giant mountain here where they got into a fist fight. Joe lost his footing and fell the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet into this wild, raging river below.
Very raging.
Another instance was in 1966. A two-part series of Lassie was filmed right over here.
Oh, look at that.
The way that this story goes is that two boys were stuck out on a raft on the river. They were hot, they were tired, they were getting bitten up by mosquitoes, so they decided to come into this cave to cool down. Unfortunately, the water levels started dangerously rising. They started crying for help. Luckily, Lassie was with the ranger at the time, heard the cries of the boys, and they managed to get them out safely.
And there's a picture of Lassie right there, kind of washed out with the lighting, but there's Lassie.
Loot Rock! This is where those
Loot Rock.
guys have found those 26 rusted artifacts right here in this anvil-shaped rock. Unfortunately, most of them have been put away due to preservation reasons, but we do still have 4 of them right down here for you. That includes this box, which I'll talk about in just a moment, 2 gun barrels, one to the left here, and one to the right, and this little hand lantern that they used to get down here with. Now, this box did come from the Denver, Missouri Mining Company. How we and Frank James had robbed that train, took this box, along with many other things, back to these parts of the caverns to hide out from the sheriff and his men, who waited at the mouth of the cave for 3 days and 3 nights in hoping to starve these boys out. Eventually they got tired of waiting, came in guns a-blazing, only found a couple of horses stumbling around in the dark. They had no idea where Jessie and Frank James had gone with the rest of this money. I will show you where they went. As you can hear, there is a bunch of rushing water back there. That is because this river has a tiny waterfall. After that, it leads directly out into the Meramec. That is how they got out of here. That waterfall is a 4-foot fall that leads into a 3-foot dip, and the rest of the river is a 1-foot walk the rest of the way out. If you tried to go out through to the Meramec through this river today, you would end up in a series of tubes underneath our parking lot, so it is not recommended. This water stays a consistent 38 to 45 degrees year-round, so you would have to hustle in order to not get sick. Now when you go down there and look at that water, it may not look like it's moving very fast, but in fact 5 million gallons of water come through here every single day. So if you guys want to go down to the end of the handrails, I'll meet you down there. You can look at some of the water.
And there you can see the water that they waded through to get out of these caves, Jessie and Frank. Wow. How historic is this place? It's absolutely cool. Just look at this, you guys. It's almost like being on a different planet. These two guys, I think, are about to form a post or a pillar, as we just learned they call them, even though there's no scientific name. And there's one that has formed right over there. Hundreds of thousands of years that took to happen. And here's an optical illusion. That is water. It looks like it's hundreds of feet deep, but it's really reflecting the ceiling in the cavern. It's done through the effects of lighting. Look at that, it looks like it's a long ways down. And here's the ceiling. As you can see, it goes up there pretty far. Reflects way down there. That is so cool. This is where we were before to go to the lower part. Now we're going to the upper part, which she said they call Exercise Alley.
Alright, you guys, welcome to Onyx Mountain. This guy here is the cave's largest stalagmite.
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
It is estimated to be about 33 million years old.
Holy cow.
It's got a circumference of over 500 feet and a height of 28 feet. As you can see up here, it does touch the ceiling. This big guy has cut off its own water supply. Note the rusty red colors of the face. That is all iron that has oxidized due to not getting any more water. Therefore, it is not getting any more minerals. So this entire face, unfortunately, is dead.
Oh.
But not too sad. Good news. In this echo chamber behind us, we do have a live side. I do want to warn you before we go up there that the water comes down onto the walkway. It is very slick, so just watch your step. The live side of Onyx Mountain. As you can see, this side is different colors. It's a lot more moist. It does have water running down the face. For those of you who come back up here, you'll see it once you pass it. That is because there is a giant pool of water above our heads right now, feeding all of this down here. That is why this is as big as it is. You'll notice a couple of different colors. Over here, the white part, that is called calcite. The white parts, that is called iron. And the darker parts, those are called manganese, otherwise known as black onyx, hence the name Onyx Mountain. Now this water does have to go somewhere other than our walkway, so if you'll look behind us.
Oh my gosh. Look at that.
We like to call Crystal Lake.
Oh, look at that. It's amazing how much different it changes with the different lighting.
On this side, the water cascades down directly directly over it, and it cannot deposit minerals where our hand oils are. This is why we ask you not to touch anything, because now this part is unfortunately dead. But if you do want to know what this feels like, you can pour a bucket of water out on our parking lot and touch that. Next room that we are going to enter is called the wine room. It is called the wine room for 3 non-alcoholic reasons. The first one being we do have a wine table up there. It's not quite what you think it is. It's something called a ragonite structure. A ragonite structure is defined as a freestanding structure, which means it does not touch any of the walls. It is naturally formed and it stands on more than 2 legs. There are only 2 known to exist in the entire world. The first one discovered was in southern Sicily, Italy. It stands on 2 legs and it's about 3 feet tall. It is completely submerged underwater. You do have to scuba dive to go to see that one. Ours up here is not submerged. You don't have to wear a wetsuit to see it. Ours stands on 3 legs and is over 6 feet tall. Go wow. America. It'll have a metal leg up on there. I'll explain that later on when we get up there. Number 2 is all of the grape-like structures of rocks along the sides of the walls. We like to call these botryoids. They are rather unique looking. They only form underwater. And the third thing is all of the whining that we hear from people when I tell you, you must climb those 58 very steep, very slippery steps to get up there. That being said, this part of the tour is optional. If you do not want to climb up those stairs, or you physically cannot climb up those stairs, that's okay. You can opt out. You will follow me to the theater room where you will take a seat and wait for everybody else to be done with the wine room. That being said, if you opt out, you will entirely miss the wine room. Do I have a show of hands? Does anybody want to opt out? Going once? Going twice? All right, it looks like everybody's going to go up. I'm going to have you stay where you are. I do have to tell you one thing before we go up there. I'm going to make my way towards these stairs.
Look at these structures here in the wine room. That is absolutely, it's like man couldn't make architecture like what you see here in these caves. This room alone is well worth the price of admission and the 58 steps. And right over here is the wine table. Look at that. Freestanding, nothing above it or around it except for that pole that she was talking about because some people tried to climb it. Look at that. It almost looks like an animal, like a camel or something like that. Look at that. This one kind of looks like a dog. You can make different little shapes out of the formations of these rocks. If you look around, you can see what appear to be skulls or grapes or whatever your imagination comes up with. And we have come down from the wine room over here into this awesome auditorium where I think we're going to see some kind of a cool show. And we have made it back to the beginning, to the Grand Ballroom. This has been an absolute blast of an adventure. I can't believe how much I don't remember of coming to Meramec Caverns from when I was a kid. This is such a unique and interesting place, and if you are ever in the St. Louis area, it is something that you definitely have to check out for yourself as well. I love that mirror ball in the middle. Wow, this was fun. If you guys liked what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. While you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe and the little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. Thank you guys all so much for the support that you've given me, and until next time, I hope to catch you on the flip side.